Yeah, hi people. Me again, obviously, as always, and as usual, Moino Ravenberg. Um, I'm going to do the geolocation chart of my quote unquote home country of Suriname. And before I continue, I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible. As you can tell based on the video, on the length duration of this video, the length or the duration of this video. And yeah, despite the fact that this is a serious video, Suriname's worthlessness makes it almost satire, I'm not gonna lie to you. Anyways, let's dive right in. Um, this is going to be similar to Haiti, so brace yourself. The first house is ruled by Pisces, and you can see that the first house is like slightly bigger than usual. It's 4 degrees bigger. Usually, a house is 30 degrees in size, but this one is 34 degrees. And you've got Neptune in Pisces, you've got Chiron in Aries, Jupiter in Aries, and Venus also in Aries. Now, what that stands for is the fact that Suriname is quite large compared to the average country from a neutral perspective. Bear in mind, from a neutral perspective, it is, in terms of land mass, it's slightly above average, slightly above average. Neptune being in Pisces, conjunct the ascendant, also in Pisces, like I said earlier, stands for the fact that you have a lot of rivers and oceans and or bodies of water either running through it or being surrounded or surrounding it. Sorry, it being surrounded by the aforementioned. And yeah, that's a given considering the fact that the Atlantic Ocean is to the north. You have two big rivers to both the east and the west, and you have a good deal of large rivers also running through Suriname as a whole, leading all the way up to the center of the Amazon, going down south in the direction of Brazil. Now, we're going to disregard Chiron, Jupiter, and Venus there stands for the fact that, generally speaking, the land is underdeveloped and quite rugged. Jupiter in Aries stands for a lot of ruggedness. There is a lot of rough terrain. Think of mountains, think of hills, think of impenetrable jungle, like true Amazonian style, the rainforest, like that. Venus there stands for the fact that, and Venus is conjunct to second house, stands for the fact that there is a considerable amount of wealth in terms of making use of terrestrial resources, but Venus is in Aries at its weakest, absolute weakest, which stands for the fact that due to the ruggedness, the aforementioned ruggedness that Jupiter conveys or displays, that it is very hard to obtain or to access, better said. And applicable to the population, it also stands for a ridiculous amount of poverty. Like, people are broke as fuck, bluntly put. You've got Juno in Taurus, also going to disregard that. You've got Uranus in Taurus as well. Stands for the fact that there are small and minor or minor, how should I put it? There are small and when it's applicable to the population, there are a few individuals that do have some money, but even then it's with difficulty. Okay, they don't attain said money easily. And applicable to the geographical territory itself, so the land, it stands for the fact that there are a good deal of precious metals and minerals. Not a lot, but a good deal of them. A considerable amount of precious metals and minerals, just the basics. Think of gold, silver, stuff like that. That has value. We've got Mars in Gemini in the third house conjunct the fourth house. And of course, Gemini is an air sign, and Mars being in Gemini's house does not bode too well. It stands for the fact that there is a strong drive or a desire, better said, for a good infrastructure, which is not present. Okay, the fact that Mars is here stands for the fact that the infrastructure is lacking in quality on a day-to-day basis or applicable to such, which causes issues, obviously, which leads to aggravation from the population as a whole, especially men. Think of internet, electricity, running water, roads, you name it. Um, and it also causes problems at a domestic level because it's tied to the household. Because of course you need a household, you need to be able to, you need to have electricity and running water to be able to run a household decently, and all the other things I mentioned, internet, etc. We've got Pallas and Cancer in the fourth house. I'm going to ignore that. Lilith as well. We've got the Earth in Virgo's house conjunct the seventh house. That stands for the fact that the Earth in Virgo's house stands for the fact that there is a tremendous amount in the way of vegetation present that can be used for pharmaceutical purposes, specifically healing physical ailments and whatnot, as well as the fact that it would be an excellent addition to the job market, essentially providing a lot of people with jobs and again just creating more work-based opportunities overall. But the fact that it's the Earth and it's opposed both Mercury, the Ascendant, the Sun, and Neptune, I'll get to that later. Also going to skip past Ceres in Libra, going retrograde. The South Nodes as well this time, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't feel like doing the South Nodes. We've got the Moon in Sagittarius, conjunct the Pot of Fortune, also in Sagittarius, and the Pot of Fortune is almost conjunct Midheaven, all of which in Sagittarius's house. This and the Moon is almost perfectly conjunct the Pot of Fortune, separated only by minutes, not even by a degree. Now, what that simply means is that Suriname's strongest asset, the only serious strong asset that Suriname has, is nature, the outdoors, flora and fauna. Literally, nature, nature, nature. That's where the value lies. Nature, 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 and again, nature. We've got Pluto conjunct the 11th house in Capricorn. Both are in Capricorn. The 11th house ruled by Capricorn, as well as Pluto being in Capricorn, which stands for the fact that, generally speaking, Suriname has fallen under and or falls under foreign occupation from a dominant power. And I personally know who that dominant power is. It's the Netherlands. I want to. In any other situation, I would say that it's their breadbasket, but absolutely not. More of a cesspool than a breadbasket. Now, Saturn is in Pisces, in Pisces' house, and just like I said, Mercury also there in Pisces, and the Sun also in Pisces, all of which in Pisces' house. Now, Saturn being there stands for the fact that the population, generally speaking, has to deal with a lot of hardship, a lot of negativity and whatnot, that automatically leads to psychosomatic illnesses or just outright mental disorders. A lot of hardship, a lot of bickering and fussing and just thinking about things that happened in the past that are the root cause, according to some people, of said hardship. Just again, life is just shit for a lot of people overall. For most of them, I'm not gonna say all. For most of them, and it's tied to the past, and the past still haunts them, especially the men. We've got Mercury in Pisces' house as well, which stands for distorted reasoning. It stands for the fact that the population of Suriname, generally speaking, does not use logic and reason. They don't rationalize. They're like women. No offense to women. they use emotion, okay, rather than, again, logic and reason to that involves that dominates their thinking processes. So the thoughts swirling through their minds, in a matter of speaking, and both literally, at the very least, up to a certain degree or extent, are driven by emotions rather than by logic and reason. The Sun in Pisces' house, stands for the fact that there is also a considerable amount of benefit that can be drawn from what I said in the first house, specifically Neptune. That's why the Sun is also conjunct Neptune alongside the Ascendant. The rivers and the bodies of water that Suriname is encompassed by, and or those that run through it geographically, provide Suriname with a good deal of, have provided Suriname with a good deal of benefits, and they still possess benefit. Anything from fishing to recreational activities to simply using it for infrastructural purposes and whatnot. Okay, it can be used for those bodies of water can be used for a multitude of purposes, um, but generally speaking, they go by unused. Now, general rule is the men are represented by Saturn. I already said what Saturn is. The men bear the brunt of the negativity present in Suriname as a nation, and the women are represented by the moon in general. This simply stands for the fact that women are more focused on on foreign affairs and dealing with education and whatnot. The majority of teachers are women, which is obviously correct, just like everything else. I've experienced that firsthand. And they're also focused specifically, honestly. The women are more lucky. That's why it's conjunct the part of fortune. Women have more luck getting by in life compared to the men. The men have to deal with all the negativities, all the majority of negativities, and the women with the minority as little as possible. And they also have more of an attraction towards foreigners, but primarily for their own purposes. They essentially try to hook up with foreigners as a means of advancing their own quality of life. They're not the only ones. So quite a couple of women globally have this mentality. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't really have an opinion on it, honestly. It's neither here nor there. Um, and yeah, what else can I say? What else can I say? Let me see if there's anything else. Is there anything else? No. That's pretty much it. Bye, guys. Until next time.